You're listening to Move IQ's podcast. I'm your host, Phil Spencer, and I'm absolutely delighted to introduce this season's co-host, my friend Chris Ducker. This is the place where I'll be sharing my advice, my experience, tips and tricks on all things property and moving home. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Go2 offer you an award-winning home moving service, from mortgages to surveys, conveyancing to removals. Their service means one simple point of contact, freeing up your time and taking away any hassle, enabling you to enjoy the move. Be sure to check out Go2. Hello everybody and welcome to the second Move IQ property podcast. Phil Spencer here, and I'm joined in the studio by my co-host Chris Ducker. Good afternoon, Chris.
Good afternoon.
It is afternoon.
It is an afternoon.
On my side of the table.
It is. So it's great to be back with you. As we record these, and you guys listening in, you should know we are going to be releasing these episodes all at the same time, so you can batch listen or watch them, just like good old Netflix. But here we are. We're recording a whole bunch here in one afternoon for you, and I've got to say, even after just that first episode, the value pouring out of your golden lips was just beautiful.
Well, it was nice to do it with you, Chris.
Yes, it was good fun. So, okay, let's talk seriously here. Preparation is key.
Preparation is key to any successful house hunt, and it's often overlooked. I think people tend to get a bit carried away, and it is exciting going out shopping for houses, the biggest shopping expedition of your life.
I think also it's emotional as well. A lot of it's a big emotional roller coaster, and because of that, we can sometimes not really focus in on the things that we need to be focusing in on, particularly right at the beginning of the journey, right?
Yeah, preparation comes first and foremost, and I'd start with budget, because everything else depends on the budget. Mm-hmm. There's no point going shopping for something unless you know how much you've got to spend on it.
Right.
So first bit of preparation is establish your budget and really do that properly and with good care and attention. In my opinion, it's worth getting some advice. A mortgage broker or advisor will sit you down and talk you through all the different products.
Mortgages are a minefield, right? I mean, this is where I think a lot of people very seriously trip up, because they find the house, right? And then they just try and grab the first mortgage they can get their hands on. Have you seen this a lot?
Well, that's why I wanted to deal with preparation on our second podcast, because you're 100% right. I've seen so many people, heard stories. They go out, they find something, they go and talk to their bank and says, yep, they can borrow $250,000 or whatever it is, and so they go shopping for a house. They come up with a house that's $250,000. Great, brilliant. They're happy days. They negotiate the offer. The estate agent then says, "Okay, have you got an agreement in principle? I'd like to see it. Who's going to be lending the money?" And they go, "Oh, crikey, yes, of course." And They basically then have to take a very important decision, which mortgage provider to go for and what deal is right for them in their unique situation. They end up taking that decision in a hurry, in a panic. Those are big decisions that you want to take away from stressful or emotional times, i.e. you're negotiating a house purchase and it's really tense. Take it before. Take it around your kitchen table. Spend some time doing it first. You're going to have a mortgage for a long, long time, 25 years. So it's worth spending some time getting to grips with it. And there are a lot of variables. There's fixed mortgage, there's variable mortgage, there's repayment, there's interest only, there's offset. You've got to think of the different arrangement fees or redemption penalties. There's a lot to consider, and there's no one product suits everyone, because we're all different.
So, okay, it sounds to me then like really getting the mortgage agreed in principle, and probably also finding a solicitor should almost begin even before the house hunt. Should you have that in the bag before you start looking?
You're absolutely right. Yes, Chris, you should. And sadly, just
how many
most people don't.
I was going to say, right. Okay.
That is the reality.
And
most
probably
people
to
don't.
their detriment a lot of the time, where they might find the property of their dreams, and because they don't have this stuff sorted out already, they then lose out because somebody will come in and make an offer and they'll have all their paperwork in place and they'll get it and they won't.
Yeah, correct. Estate agents and indeed sellers of houses want to do business with someone who's going to make their life simple. And who is that person? It's the person who is organised, who can demonstrate that they can perform, that they can do what they say they're going to do. That person has a mortgage arranged in principle, has a bit of paper to demonstrate that, and has a solicitor on standby.
Okay. How long, though, does this type of stuff take to organise? I mean, realistically, getting that mortgage agreed, finding a good solicitor who understands your needs and is not just looking to try and make some easy money. I mean, how long, in general, does that sort of take?
I mean, it depends how much time you put into it, but you'd have it wrapped in 2 weeks.
Right. If
Easy.
you focused on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that complicated, but you just need to spend a bit of time and talk to a few people and get some advice, get some recommendations, and nut it out. And then you put it to bed. You don't need to worry about it again. Then, actually, you get on with the exciting bit, which is going out looking at houses.
Right. So when it comes to solicitors, obviously, I mean, like any other professional service provider, there's a whole bunch of them out there. What are the steps we've got to take to actually choose the right one for us?
Well, you're right. There is a whole bunch. It's like football players. There are good ones and bad ones. There are expensive ones and cheap ones.
Yes.
It's the same in any professional arena. So I would say listen to recommendations. Talk to your friends. And there is absolutely no harm in listening to recommendations from estate agents on this particular matter, because they'll know the good local solicitors, the ones who are proactive, who are communicative, who are problem solvers. That estate agents know. So, take some advice. I would recommend that people concentrate on individual solicitors and conveyancers rather than be recommended a firm, because it's actually the individual and their capacity to deal with the issues that you want. It can be complicated, and if and when it gets complicated, a good solicitor is worth their weight in gold.
Agreed.
That's what you need. There are different ways of charging. Solicitors use different routes. That some of them are on an hourly rate, some of them are on a fixed fee, some of them work out to calculate a percentage of the house price. So you've got to understand what you're getting, what it's likely to cost. Don't forget the VAT that comes on top of the solicitor's fee. Move IQ, our panel of solicitors, they actually work on a no move, no fee basis, which is why we're very happy to recommend them.
Right. Okay, so, I mean, there's kind of portals and local agents and things like that you can sort of go ahead and get registered on.
Yeah.
What I like about the idea of working with local agents is that they really, 9 times out of 10, they'll really have their ear to the ground. I mean, they'll understand local knowledge better than sort of maybe a more broader type of chain of estate agents and that sort of type of stuff. I mean, what's your feeling on that?
My feeling is it stands to reason everybody's actual search starts on the internet. You use technology, happy days, it's brilliant. But
and they can go to the Move IQ website for a lot of this stuff.
Yes, they can. For certainly loads of advice. It is on the moveiq.co.uk website. But the actual finding the property, yes, you can set up alerts on all of the portals and it will ping you when interesting things come on. But actually, I think the best information comes from the local agent on the ground. And I always believe that estate agents, they are the gatekeepers to the properties, the information that you want. And there is a time delay between the time that the agent goes to see the house and values it, then they get instructions, then they return and do a floor plan and take photos and draw up the details, and then, and only then, does it appear on the portal. There was a time delay. That's the time that the person who actually has a working relationship with the estate agent, because they bothered to go in and meet them and say hello and shake their hand and be a person, not a telephone number or an email address.
Right.
People remember faces. People remember people, not email addresses.
Yeah.
So it's about developing your working relationships. That's how you get the best information.
Okay, so I think one of the key principles here, though, is also to try and kind of keep a bit of an eye on your own timeline as well. Because, I mean, some people might be in a position where they need to move quite quickly, particularly if they're maybe selling a property as well, right? I mean, do you see this being, sometimes a bit of have a negative effect on people when they're up against a timeline and they're kind of making decisions that are maybe a little rushed?
nobody wants to take such a big decision in a hurry.
Right.
But sometimes you do. These buying a house, selling a house, renting a house, it tends to take longer than people give it. Start in plenty of time.
Yeah.
Do your preparation, do your research, knot it all out. Then you've no idea how long it's going to take you to find the right place. Depends how fussy you are.
Yeah.
If you're in a hurry, you can't be fussy.
Right.
If you want to be fussy, then spend a year doing it.
Right.
But actually, you need somewhere to live.
Well, yes, ideally. Ideally, you do. In our next episode, we're going to be touching base, now that we've kind of figured out what we need to do from a preparation perspective. We know how much we've got to spend. We've found our mortgage advisor and our lender. We've obviously got a solicitor in place and that sort of type of thing. Next episode, we're going to deep dive on property and shortlisting of that property.
Shortlisting properties to view. Which ones do you choose to go and view and which ones you don't?
It's going to be a good episode. Can't wait. For you guys tuning in, thank you very, very much for being with us once again here on episode 2 of the Move IQ podcast. We'll be back at you again very soon with episode 3.
Thanks for listening. That wraps up this week's episode of Move IQ's podcast. Whatever podcast app you like to use, please do go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'd also really appreciate it if you could leave a review. Reviews really help other people like you find us. For free resources and materials, head over to moveiq.co.uk. Thanks for tuning in.